I would like to begin by stating that this motion mixes and confuses two important issues: support for our aerospace industry, and in this motion specifically Bombardier, and city building. In this motion, the impact of the proposed expansion of the Billy Bishop Island Airport on the waterfront and the City of Toronto. The motion confuses the two issues by linking them, and this lessens the debate. We can debate how to best support the aerospace industry. That's a worthwhile endeavor. But why tie it to the island airport? It oversimplifies the problem, and it does not offer long-term solutions. Let us be clear. Expanding one airport does not guarantee a future for our aerospace industry or for Bombardier. The form of this motion is divisive. It creates a notion that supporting aerospace must be done at the cost of city building. It does not. People in the aerospace industry can be city builders. City builders can champion the aerospace industry. We will all be stronger if we work together. So I begin by saying, Mr. Speaker, that I cannot support this motion because of the way it is set up. It is divisive and it does not get us closer to solutions. It is detrimental to the city building happening in Toronto and at our waterfront in the city. We can work together to find solutions. It is simplistic to say that the answer to the problems facing our aerospace industry in general, or Bombardier specifically, is to be found by building larger, more extensive airports long into the future, even if the expansion proposed is contrary to the community's interests. We can and should do better at addressing this issue. This motion, though, fails to provide any solutions. My riding of Toronto Danforth contains both large residential areas and nearly 300 acres of industrial and commercial lands that make up the port lands. We overlook the island airport and sit adjacent to it, and in some cases, under some of the flight paths for the Billy Bishop Island Airport. Although I am proud that Bombardier is a strong Canadian company, and I am a supporter of the current configuration of the island airport, I am opposed to this motion today. I support Bombardier. L'entreprise Bombardier est un symbole.
Bombardier, after all, is a Canadian icon. From the 1930s through the end of the 1960s, Bombardier pioneered the modern snowmobile. The diversity of products produced by now numerous divisions of this Canadian giant are enormous. Bombardier's rail and aerospace divisions, with their associated administrative offices, employ tens of thousands of people from Burnaby, BC to Saint-Bruno, Quebec. They make snowmobiles, monorails, water bombing, firefighting aircraft, and railway rolling stock. The work of Bombardier employees can be found throughout the world and in our subway tunnels and garages. Bombardier is important to Canada. Over the past decade, one of the major breakthroughs in terms of products made by Bombardier is indeed the C-Series. This series of aircraft is indeed a technological marvel. There is widespread agreement that the C-Series aircraft is among the quietest aircraft in the world. And not only that, they are selling. Just last month, Air Canada signed a letter of intent to buy 45 of these jets with an option for 30 more. The market is providing Bombardier with solutions to its financial problems, and we know that the government is considering its request for financing to get its C-Series production off the ground.
Quality of Bombardier's jets, nor even merely the noise from these planes. It is the disruption from the air traffic, the impact on wildlife, the impact on small watercraft, on the lake and on the people in Toronto. I agree, furthermore, that the island airport in its existing configuration should remain. It brings travelers, tourists, business people to the center of the city that I call home. It is an important part of our city. But I would like to underline this point. The City of Toronto is not just an economic engine. It is home to millions of people. The expansion of the island airport would harm a recently revitalized waterfront, a place where there has been significant investments over the past years, and one in which we are continuing to invest. So I don't support expanding the island airport. My riding would be directly impacted by an expanded island airport. The southernmost portion of my riding is a park called Tomney-Thompson Park. It is, in fact, one of the environmental consequences of Toronto's expansion over the last 50 years. The park is a long spit of land that juts into Lake Ontario. It was originally designed as a breakwall to protect the inner harbour from erosion. This 5-kilometre-long, 1,200-acre structure is physical proof of the changes Toronto has gone through. It is built from the soil that was removed to build subway lines and office towers over the last 5 decades. Nature has reclaimed it, and we've turned it into a park. It's not just the people from across the GTA who appreciate this strip of land. This park is one of the few places on the Toronto waterfront where natural habitats exist for birds and other species. It is home to some 316 species of birds and a wide variety of mammals. Beavers, mink, and muskrat call this part of Toronto home. The area has been designated an important bird area by BirdLife International. It is an important breeding area and migratory stopover for many of these birds. Running an expanded airport's flight path over an adjacent to this area of national significance would be significant for the bird life, and it would be incompatible with the use these animals are making of the land. An expanded flight schedule that includes jets would also be incompatible with the uses the residents of my riding and the GTA are finding for this park. The impact on the residents of the GTA, were the island airport to be expanded, would also be significant. This motion speaks only to the purported economic benefits the member opposite imagines would flow from adding football fields of tarmac into the Toronto waterfront. There's no mention of the millions of people who visit the Toronto Islands each year to picnic, swim, and skate on the frozen ponds. We are a city built on a lake. Our waterfront and islands are vital parts of our identity and our communal space. Tourists visit our waterfront, and we've invested in its revitalization. After all of this effort, all of this city building, why would we damage it by increasing the length of runways and landing jets over our heads? This motion fails to realize what the waterfront means to my riding and the Greater Toronto Area as a whole. This motion envisages the harbour as a place where only work is accomplished, where dollars and cents flow into Toronto. It fails to see the harbour and the waterfront more broadly as crucial public space. The waterfront is a place where people live, work, and relax. The island airport exists and is an important part of the downtown core of Toronto, but it does not need to define that space. I am opposed to this motion because it does not accord with the vision my community has for Toronto's future. The expansion of the island airport is not compatible with a waterfront that is a livable and accessible place. It detracts from what we have worked to build for people to study, work, and visit. An expanded island airport does not include space for sailboats, dragon boats, and canoes. This is Toronto's space to relax. It does not allow for migratory bird colonies on a spit of land that was once just construction material. It does not allow for quite secluded beaches with endless lake views, and it is a version of Toronto that is fundamentally contrary to the type of development the city needs and wants in spaces surrounding its harbour. Our efforts should be directed towards expanding cultural spaces, building green infrastructure, and investing in housing in the spaces left in the downtown core. Smart and careful investment in an urban environment that enhances people's quality of life will bring benefits to Canada and the GTA. The economic benefits of a livable waterfront are just as important could bring greater benefit than a bigger airport. We should support city building and not assume that a few hundred meters of asphalt will somehow cure the problems of the world's leading aerospace and train manufacturer. To conclude, I'm happy to take the honourable member for Carlton Trail Eagle Creek on a tour of my riding so that she can see firsthand what I'm talking about. It is, after all, almost migratory bird season for Tommy Thompson Park. Thank you.